This video is brought to you by NetSuite by Oracle. If you are a CEO who's tired of using QuickBooks or tired of the nonsense of running multiple programs at once, upgrade to NetSuite to more effectively run your company. Deshaun Watson had an amazing year. Every time I watched the Houston Texans, I said the same exact thing. I said that that's an amazing quarterback with no support. He was making great decisions. He was highly accurate. We watched the team around him kind of crumble, where there was no running game, there was really disappointing receivers, there was a bad offensive line, there was a horrible defense, and the team around Deshaun Watson was a mess. And I kept talking about how Deshaun Watson, in the midst of a crisis and a horrible mess, was playing very, very well and just taking care of everything he could control and doing a good job. Meanwhile, another quarterback in Philadelphia, Carson Wentz, who had a mess around him, crumbled and fell apart, and he couldn't, make good decisions, and he couldn't control everything he could control. And we saw Carson Wentz devolve and fall apart, and in the midst of a crisis and a mess, Deshaun Watson stayed exactly where he was and played very, very well and very good football. And the Texans went 4-12. They had a horrible year. Horrible team, horrible year. Yet Deshaun Watson had MVP-level numbers. I'm not a huge numbers guy, but the numbers do support everything I've been saying all year. And here's a little bit of what Deshaun Watson did this year. I'm going to share some statistics with you because I know that I can say, he made good decisions and he was great and this and that, but some people only listen to statistics. So here, for those people, he led the NFL in passing yards. He had 4,823 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He was third in the NFL in completion percentage. He was number 1 in yards per pass attempt. He was number 2 in passer rating. And those numbers back up what I've been saying about Deshaun Watson all year, which is that he's a really, really phenomenal quarterback on a horrendous, awful football team. And Deshaun Watson put up MVP-level numbers during a 4-12 season. And nobody talks about it. He's not going to get a single MVP vote. And first of all, I feel kind of bad for Deshaun Watson because he's in a terrible position. But also, I wondered, what's the lesson here? As we watch Deshaun Watson, he had a phenomenal year. What's the lesson, the takeaway from all this? And the takeaway for me is that the team around your superstar quarterback matters a ton. You need a good team. I personally look at Patrick Mahomes a lot differently now than I used to. I've always been enamored and amazed, oh my gosh, Patrick Mahomes is so good and so amazing. And even this year, I really gained respect for Patrick Mahomes. I think he does some incredible stuff. But so does Deshaun Watson. And what's the difference between Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes? They might be, maybe Patrick Mahomes is slightly better, but the difference is Patrick Mahomes has help. He's got a great coach, great players around him, just talent all around Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson's got nothing. And so I kind of asked the question, what if Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson switched to teams? What would happen there if they traded positions? We might be talking about how Deshaun Watson is the greatest person we've ever seen. He's so amazing, and he's winning Super Bowls. Meanwhile, we wouldn't see... Again, think of how many times you've seen Patrick Mahomes in a commercial. Yeah, he's an amazing quarterback, but part of that is because he's got a great team around him. If Deshaun Watson were the quarterback of the Houston Texans, working with Andy Reid and making great decisions, playing at a high level, and doing it, throwing to the receivers he's got in Kansas City, man, I think we'd be seeing Deshaun Watson in a lot of those State Farm commercials and this and that and ketchup and headphones and everything, right? So my takeaway, the lesson from the 2020 season Deshaun Watson had is that you can have an amazing quarterback. You still need a good team around the guy. And Deshaun Watson's an amazing quarterback with nothing around him, no help. And so we like to give a lot of credit to the quarterback and all this and that, but more credit needs to be given to the receivers and the coach and an offensive line and the running back. Other people need credit beyond the quarterback. And so I stand by, you can have a great quarterback. That great quarterback is going to need a lot of help as well. That's a big lesson you can learn from Deshaun Watson in 2020. And right now, there are a ton of problems in Houston with the Houston Texans. They're an awful team. They've got no first-round pick. And they just hired a general manager that Deshaun Watson, their star quarterback, doesn't like. Bit of a problem. They hired Nick Cassario from the Patriots organization. And I have no idea if Cassario is good at his job or not. Nick Cassario might be an amazing general manager. He might not be. I'm not going to make a statement either way. He's unproven. But what I will say is this, is that anybody of any quality appears to avoid working in Houston. Really good head coaching candidates. For example, Eric Bieniemy, the Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator, declined to interview with the Houston Texans. And Matt Eberflus, the Colts defensive coordinator, said, I'm good. I'm not going to interview with the Houston Texans. I don't want that job. So people that are really good at their job have said, you know what? I'm a quality employee. I don't want to work with the Houston Texans. So my question is that an example of, if Nick Cassario is really that good, why didn't he have a better opportunity somewhere else? It's all highly questionable to me. But here's why I really, really hate the Nick Cassario hire. It's that you're doing the New England thing again. You already did this. You did the New England idea and the plan with Bill O'Brien, and it failed miserably. It was horrible. So why double down and go back to the well and hire another person from New England to do the whole New England nonsensical thing again? And I actually wonder if Cal McNair, the owner of the Houston Texans, got a little bit, sold some snake oils and maybe bamboozled a little bit, where you tell the owner, like, hey, you want what the New England Patriots have, right? You want to win Super Bowls. Well, guess what? I'm Nick Cassario. I did good stuff in New England. We won a lot of games. We won Super Bowls. Don't you want that here in Houston? And it's the same pitch that everybody talks about. Like, oh, I can do what Bill Belichick has done. No, you can't. Sorry, Nick Cassario. You might be great. You're not Bill Belichick, right? And I'm so tired of watching people get hired from New England, getting all this, Matt Patricia, Bill O'Brien, coach after coach and general manager and personnel person after personnel person, getting all the credit for the work that reality Bill Belichick is doing. Bill Belichick is a general manager in New England. Bill Belichick's doing all the work, watching film and grading players and bringing in people. Like, I just hate watching other people benefit off the work of Bill Belichick and getting all this credit. Like, I just think I honestly believe that Houston got hornswoggled a little bit and sold an idea that is faulty and not quite right. And so I just hate the hiring of Nick Cassario, partially because Deshaun Watson doesn't like him. That's enough for me. But also because you already did the New England thing. You already tried to copy New England. It didn't work. Why are you doubling down and doing it again? Now, there's also this guy in Houston called Jack Easterby. He's left over from the Bill O'Brien era. Jack Easterby is the former New England Patriots chaplain. And a chaplain is a religious leader that literally will pray with players. And so it's weird that guy went from a religious leader helping, pray with players to now he's the guy at the top of the Houston Texans front office. That makes no sense to me. I don't understand how. I don't mean to disparage religion at all, but I don't really know what praying with players has to do with running an NFL front office. I think they're very separate, different things. And maybe Jack Easterby is very motivating, but also the problem is people in Houston, Deshaun Watson, other Houston Texans players, they hate Jack Easterby. They don't want the guy. They don't like the guy. They don't want to work for him. And so you have the Houston Texans who have hired Nick Cassario, who Deshaun Watson doesn't want to work with, and you kept Jack Easterby, another person that Deshaun Watson and other Houston Texans players don't want to work with. That's a huge problem to me. And I don't understand why they're doing this. I don't know what Cal McNair, the owner of the Houston Texans, is doing. There's really this question going around. Why is Deshaun Watson so angry? And then what should Cal McNair, the owner of the Houston Texans, do? So number one, Deshaun Watson's partially super angry because Cal McNair, the owner of the Texans, said, hey, when we hire a new GM, when we hire a new coach, when we do all this stuff, we're going to listen to you, take your ideas for consideration, and we're going to work with you and collaborate with you behind the scenes in the process. Oh, yeah, and then they totally didn't do any of that. They ignored any of the suggestions Deshaun Watson had. They didn't listen to him. They lied to him. They told him one thing. They didn't follow through, and they didn't listen to Deshaun Watson at all. So I understand why Deshaun Watson is frustrated. So what should the Texans owner, Cal McNair, do? First of all, I think Cal McNair is a special kind of idiot. I don't mean to berate the guy. It seems like he is the son of a very rich man. He inherited what he got. I don't know what Cal. I have no idea anything about Cal McNair. I'm speaking of a place of ignorance, but I don't. My limited understanding of Cal McNair is he inherited what he got from his dad, Bob McNair. I don't have a lot of respect for that. I'm like, okay, you inherited stuff. You didn't really earn it. Okay. And clearly what he's doing running the Houston Texans is terrible. They went 4-12 this year. Their quarterback hates them. I don't know how this is successful. And here's what Cal McNair said at a press conference the other day when he introduced Nick Cassario as a new general manager of the Houston Texans. He said this. He said, first of all, Cal McNair told fans that they just needed to trust him. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. What? Why should anybody trust the owner of the Houston Texans, Cal McNair? Your team's 4-12. You're terrible. You made mistake after mistake after mistake. Why should any Houston Texans fan trust you? I have no idea why. I wouldn't if I was a Texans fan. That's a terrible thing to say. Number two, he then described why he likes Nick Cassario. He said, quote, he's intelligent, hardworking, and believes in doing things the right way. What? You guys realize that's the qualifications of a McDonald's employee, right? Like, if you go to McDonald's and you're not smart, you're not hardworking, you do things the wrong way, you get fired at McDonald's! That's no reason to hire a guy to be your NFL general manager. What are you talking about? It's a nonsensical statement, which I get. He didn't write it. He probably is reading off a teleprompter, like, whatever. But it's like, oh, what? That's your reasoning? Trust me. And then a bunch of nonsense that is the same speech you would give for a McDonald's employee. Okay. Cal McNair, owner of the year. Oh, everybody hates him already. I don't know. I don't understand. Here's what I would do if I was Cal McNair. I don't want to be Cal McNair. He looks ugly, and that's a mean thing, but I don't want to be Cal McNair. But if I was the owner of the Houston Texans, I would fire Jack Easterby, I would fire Nick Cassario, and I would do everything I possibly could to repair the relationship with Deshaun Watson. Everything I could. Do not dare let Deshaun Watson leave your organization. If you do, you're an idiot. And I understand, like, first of all, it's come to the point where it's either Deshaun Watson, pick him, or Cassario and Jack Easterby. You're not going to get both. Either pick the two guys in your front office or pick the quarterback. I personally would pick the quarterback because Deshaun Watson is a proven success. He's done very well. He's got literally MVP level numbers. How could you not pick the proven success Deshaun Watson over, well, if I have to choose, well, let's talk about Jack Easterby. He's left over from Bill O'Brien. He helped the Houston Texans go 4-12. He failed. He's a failure. And Nick Cassario might be good at his job, but he's unproven. I have no idea. How about you pick the proven success Deshaun Watson over the two front office employees who one is a failure and the other is an unknown? I don't understand how you could pick, if you have to choose the two front office employees or Deshaun Watson, your starting quarterback. Pick Deshaun Watson. You're never going to get another Deshaun Watson in your lifetime. You can try. You can trade for Tua from the Dolphins. It's not going to happen. And I've heard rumors of a Deshaun Watson trade. In my opinion, Deshaun Watson is untradeable. You couldn't pay me to. There's nothing I would do to get rid of Deshaun Watson. I would do everything I could to make the guy like me, to want to work with me, and build around my quarterback, Deshaun Watson. I don't know how you could have a guy like Deshaun Watson, who's amazing, and then not support the guy, treat him like crap, and make him unhappy. Like, you're an idiot. You're terrible at managing relationships if you couldn't keep Deshaun Watson happy and you made him want to leave your organization. Nick Cassario has a 6-year, $30 million contract. By my math, 6 times 5 is 30, so he makes $5 million a year. You're going to pick an employee that makes $5 million a year. You're going to, if you fire Nick Cassario right now, you're still going to probably have to pay his contract, but Nick Cassario makes less in 6 years than Deshaun Watson's going to make next year. In 1 year, you're paying Deshaun Watson $40 million a year. You're going to pick the other guy who makes 5, who is hated by many, many people, who's unproven? I don't understand that. I would choose the most valuable employee of my franchise, Deshaun Watson, over Nick Cassario in a heartbeat. I don't understand. There's a power struggle going on. It's very weird to me. The only trade that makes any sense to me is trading Deshaun Watson to the Miami Dolphins and getting Tua Tagovailoa and the 2 first-round picks the Miami Dolphins have. At minimum, I would want even more than that. But if you give me Tua, the number 3 overall pick, and the number 18 overall pick, fine. But even then, let's be very honest. I love Tua a lot. Tua's one of my favorite. Literally, the only NFL jersey I own is Tua Tagovailoa's jersey. I love Tua. Deshaun Watson is way, 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 way better than Tua. You're never going to get another Deshaun Watson. I would take Deshaun Watson over Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, almost any young quarterback other than, like, the only guy that's even comparable to Deshaun Watson is Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Like, there's only a couple guys in the NFL that are even comparable to Deshaun Watson that aren't worth trading away to get Deshaun Watson. I don't understand how you could possibly have Deshaun Watson on with your organization and then trade him away. You're going to look like an idiot. You're going to watch Deshaun Watson go to the Miami Dolphins and win a couple Super Bowls and go, oh, yeah, that's the guy we got rid of because we couldn't keep him happy. We kept a guy, Jack Easterby, who used to be a chaplain of the Patriots, to run our front office instead of this amazing quarterback. How are you going to justify it? You can't. Even if Tua's good, even if you get Penei Sewell and let's say you get what's that really good tight end from Florida? You get I'm blanking on his name. You get a great tight end and you get a great left tackle and a quarterback. It's still not enough in my opinion. I don't understand how you can possibly consider trading away Deshaun Watson. But I'll tell you, if I'm Miami and I'm here and give up 2 first-round picks and Tua for Deshaun Watson, oh, in a heartbeat, Miami's going to win a Super Bowl next year. Like that. They suddenly get an amazing quarterback for a pretty low price of 2 first-round picks and a rookie quarterback. Okay, do that trade. I dare you. I dare you, Houston Texans. Cal McNair, trade away your star quarterback. Oh, man, I'm fired up. It's crazy to me. Now, I've seen some people call Deshaun Watson a bad leader for the way he's handled this scenario. Nonsense to me. That's really stupid. Number one, have you ever watched Deshaun Watson ever? He's a great leader. I don't know how you can possibly look at anything Deshaun Watson's ever done and say he's not a great leader. People love him. He's a great leader at Clemson. He won national championships at Clemson. I don't know how you can't support the guy. And he said he wants out, but that's not bad. We got a couple things to unpack here. Number one, where does Deshaun Watson's loyalty lie? Number one, Deshaun Watson needs to be loyal to himself and his family over the Houston Texans organization. Big employers do this all the time, where they try to make their workers believe that the company is more important than the worker's family or themselves. I'm sorry, Deshaun Watson needs to worry about his family and himself before the Houston Texans. He doesn't owe them anything. They're a terrible organization who's done nothing to support him at all for years. Look at the offensive line Deshaun Watson's had for years now. It's embarrassing. So Deshaun Watson needs to look out for himself. But also, Deshaun Watson saying he wants out and pushing back against the organization. How does that make him a bad leader? What is a leader? In my opinion, a good leader is someone who's not afraid to push back against an organization that's faulty or nonsense or bad structure. Deshaun Watson is not afraid to go out on a limb and say, I don't want to be here. This isn't good for me. What we're doing isn't working. It's not good. That's actually, in my opinion, good leadership. To call out a bad owner, to call out the bad stuff going on in your organization. The only way the Houston Texans are going to get better is if they fix their problems. And in order to fix their problems, they have to become aware of their problems. Don't you understand? The first step in solving a problem is pointing out the problem. And so I don't agree. Anybody saying Deshaun Watson's not a good leader, I completely 1,000% disagree with you. I think you're wrong. I think you're completely wrong. I think Deshaun Watson speaking up, not being afraid to be different, saying, hey, this isn't working. This isn't good. I don't want to be here if you're going to do this. That's actually being a good leader. It helps all of Deshaun Watson's teammates if he says, hey, I want to win games. I want to not work for this idiot. I'm like, yeah, that's the right thing to do here. Everybody's avoiding Houston. High-level coaches, people that are Matt Eberflus and Eric Bieniemy, top coaching candidates that could be the Houston Texans head coach, have said, we're not going to interview with Houston because we don't want that job. Clearly, there are things very, very wrong in Houston. Part of that is because they have problems with the quarterback. Part of that is because the owner's an idiot and the people they hired are bad. And then, has anybody heard from from J.J. Watt recently? J.J. Watt, first of all, called out the Houston Texans for their lack of professionalism. Then also, as Deshaun Watson was walking off the field for the final time this year, J.J. Watt put his arm around Deshaun Watson and apologized to Deshaun for wasting one of his good years. I don't know how anybody can side with Houston rather than Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's right here. He's not a bad leader for calling out the problems in the organization. Again, I repeat, in my opinion, good leadership is someone who's willing to call out bad problems with an organization, to call out nonsense, to fight back and push back against nonsense. So I don't know how you can call Deshaun Watson a bad leader. And if J.J. Watt respects Deshaun Watson, clearly he's probably doing something right.